Hello, Zuko here. If you don't know, my name is Jess. I go by Zimmy on the internet because one time I was 15. So today I wanted to talk about the books that I DNF'd this year because it is now December. Not as I'm filming this, but when I post it, it's December. I'm hoping I don't have any DNFs in December because I don't know, I want to have a good end of the reading year, you know? But I don't really talk about the books I DNF. I wanted to compile them all here and tell you why I didn't like these books. So yeah, let's get into it. Also, if you're wondering, as I'm filming this, it is NaNoWriMo. I learned that this pinky likes to sit like this when I'm writing and it causes pain. So now it's taped to this guy. So that's that. Okay, so I guess I should give a little disclaimer at the beginning of this video to say that just because I didn't like these books or didn't finish them doesn't mean that you don't have to. And yeah, you might like some of these books and think they were really great, and I think they're god-awful, and that's okay. Everyone has different tastes. Also, I don't like to DNF a book. I generally would rather just finish it and be done with it than DNF a book. So it has to be pretty unreadable for me to actually DNF a book. That's why there's not a huge number of them, but I do have a few, so here they are. The first book I DNF'd this year, I think I technically DNF'd last year, but I think I officially gave up on it this year. And that is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. Everyone seems to love this book, and it just seemed kind of meh and very straight. This is a, Scrooge, what's that? A Christmas Carol, I believe, retelling, where every year this group of ghosts, I guess, picks a Scrooge and the three people who are going to come and visit them and try to fix them so that they become better people. But the character in this book didn't become a better person, so she died, and now the book is following her being one of the ghosts who haunts people or whatever. I don't know. It's a pretty book. This one I've soft DNF'd. I don't think I'm gonna pick it up, but maybe one day I'll read it. I don't know. I wish I liked it because it's pretty, but it's just not something that was holding my attention. I think I made it about 70 pages in and then went, I don't ever have interest in picking this up again. But I'm still maybe if I had the audiobook, I would listen to it, you know? I have no idea what order to put these in, so I'm just gonna say the next book is The Kill Order by James Dashner. This is a prequel novel to the Maze Runner trilogy. I don't know, I might have made it halfway through this book, and I didn't care about anything. It was so boring, I didn't care. I didn't care, I didn't care. I wanted to care because even though the whole concept doesn't make any sense, I enjoyed the experience of reading the Maze Runner series, so I thought I would like this. This has nothing to do with the main characters. This is fully a prequel with some random ass people talking about how the whole disaster that made the world a dystopian happened, and I just didn't care about anything that was going on in this book. So I DNF'd this one. At one point this year, I fully gave up on I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. I tried to read this when I was 17-ish, and I made it about 150 pages, and then there was a big twist, and I was like, this isn't the kind of book I thought it was. And then I tried to read it again, and I didn't care again, and I got to the big twist again, and I was still like, this isn't something I want to read. And I wish I did. Again, maybe I would try the audiobook for this. This feels like kind of a soft DNF also. Yeah, I don't know. This one wasn't working for me. Even when I went in with the expectation of knowing what the twist was and preparing for it, because I wanted a murder mystery, and then there's a twist that wasn't what I wanted it to be, and it became a different genre than I was expecting. But I don't know, I wish I liked this, but I DNF'd it because I tried and I tried and it wasn't for me. Maybe if I can get the audiobook, I will pick this up again. This one's not I hated it. This was it just wasn't working for me. So, and I have News from the Dead. This is a historical fiction novel about a woman who is hanged for, I believe it was because she had a miscarriage. But it's told in the dual timeline perspectives of her growing up kind of, and as where she works, and The Autopsy, where she's still like in her head, I think. I DNF'd this because I don't really love historical fiction, and I was bored and nothing interesting was happening. And like, maybe if you like historical fiction, this would be a much more interesting book for you. But it was like a historical fiction, maybe there was a romance element, I don't really remember, because I think I made it maybe 100 pages in and went, no. Oh yeah, the summary of this is she was dead and minutes away from being dissected, and then she woke up. And I don't know if that's like she literally like woke up, or if her brain just woke up. I don't remember. Or maybe I didn't get there. But this just wasn't for me. Like, this one's a hard DNF. I'm not going to finish it ever. Then I have Welcome to Bordertown, News Stories and Poems of the Borderlands. Edited by Holly Black and Ellen Kushner. Introduction by Terry Windling. It's got a lot of authors in it that are well known, like Cassandra Clare's in there, and Janie Lee Simner's in there, and Neil Gaiman's in here. I made it one story through this, and it was the most boring short story I've read in a long time. This concept really interests me. Like, the idea of a town that exists between the borders of like human and I think fairy lands, or like fantasy land anyway. But I don't like short fiction, and I think I really don't like collections of short fiction by multiple authors, because there are always authors who write stories that I don't care about. And so like this, I tried to listen to the audiobook because I didn't want to read this, and the first story was like 3 hours long. It's fucking long fiction. Get out of here. I don't want to read that. That's not a short story. I'm not interested. So this is a hard DNF. Like, as much as I like Holly Black's stuff and I'm like interested in the concept, I'm not interested in the execution. So goodbye. Then I have Emily A. Duncan's Wicked Saints. This one I tried to listen to the audiobook for, and I was like an hour or two in, and I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know who the characters were, and I didn't care. And then I heard that this was like a badly written version of Leigh Bardugo's Grisha trilogy. So I read that instead, and I really enjoyed it. This one feels like more of a soft DNF. Like, maybe I'd be willing to pick this up and try it again, especially to see if it's like the like Smoke and Bone, is that it? Shadow and Bone book. But I also heard like the main character in this kind of sucks, and the romance is bad. I don't know. I'm really iffy on if I'm ever gonna pick this up again. But when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, I just remembered that an hour's passed and I wasn't listening because I didn't care. Which makes me think I shouldn't bother picking this back up ever, because I don't think this is the book for me. Here we'll do the book that I don't physically have, and that is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. This is marketed as a vampire book. This is, in fact, not a vampire book. I think I made it over halfway through, and like they mentioned the idea of vampires. It was bad. It's like set in New Orleans, which sounds super fun. When I believe young girls from France were being sent there by the Catholic Church to make new lives during the war. I could be making that up. I don't know. It was a historical fiction set in New Orleans where maybe there were vampires, but it's not sold like that. It's sold as Vampires in New Orleans. I hated it. It was boring. Like, I think there were queer characters in it, and even then I was like, wow, but everyone's boring. Like, don't market it as something it's not. It wasn't a vampire book. It was historical fiction with maybe there were like vampires sprinkled in if you looked really hard. I don't know, that just like bothers me. Don't market it that way, or people are gonna be disappointed when they pick it up thinking it's this and it's not. You know? Like, I'm sure this book is for someone, but it's not for me. And if they marketed it to that someone instead of me, it might have better reviews. Hey, I have 2 more books I don't own anymore that I've DNF'd. The first one was Asylum by Madeleine Rue. This was a book about a, pre-college prep thing where a bunch of students were staying at this place that was formerly an asylum. They were all like 16, but they were acting a solid 11 years old. the male character was so protective of this girl that he just met that he was really mad that someone else was talking to her. And I'm like, you don't know her. She's not your friend. You don't have any claim on anything. It doesn't make any sense. It was terrible. I fell asleep listening to it, let the whole audiobook play, and didn't ever go back and rewind it because it was bad. And I owned a whole series. Like, it's like 5 books. But her writing was so fucking awful. Like, I'm like, bye. Never picking up a book by you again. Like, if the story or the execution was kind of bad, maybe I would, like, be interested. But her writing was awful, and that shouldn't have been published. It was so bad. Ah! Okay. Then I DNF'd The Last Star by Rick Yancey. This is the 3rd book in the 5th Wave series, which the 5th Wave was an okay book. The sequel, Something C, is this the C? Yeah, the Something C? I don't know. The sequel was boring. The whole, like, aliens plotline kind of just gets dropped, and then it's just weird. And I realized, like, halfway or less through the 3rd book that I wasn't listening anymore. I didn't care about any of the characters. I don't know how I finished the 2nd book because it was so boring. All of it. It was boring. These weren't good books. They got so much hype, and I think it was all paid promotion, or people liked the 1st book and then, I don't know, were paid to promote the next ones, or else they never promoted the next ones because they weren't good. It was a bad series. The books weren't good. I don't understand. So yeah, I fucking DNF'd that. I read the ending on the internet. It was bad, so I'm glad I didn't stick around for another couple hours to listen to that. Like, I don't understand why these books are published. It's bad. I know I was reading this in October. As I've said, I don't love short fiction, and this is a short story bind-up. This is a soft DNF. I'm DNFing it for now, and I'm gonna try and finish it next year in October. No promises, because I like the concept, and I'm not hating this. I just don't ever really pick up short fiction, so I'm gonna save this for next October. This is the biggest soft DNF that it, like, actually still goes back on my shelf when I'm done with this video. Then I DNF'd The Gates by John Conley. I've been debating and debating and debating all year. Do I want to keep this book in this series? Because I have all 3. And then I got access to the audiobook for this. So I tried to listen to it. It's like a 5-hour audiobook, like, or something. I don't know. It's not long. I had like an hour left maybe, and I was like, I can't do it. I don't care. This is very British, and that's not a bad thing. It's very, like, it feels like someone else, though, trying to write as Neil Gaiman, and it wasn't really working, in my opinion. Like, I don't think this was fundamentally bad, but it did seem pretty middle grade-y, and I don't know, it wasn't working for me. I didn't love it. I wasn't having fun. I DNF'd it. But I wouldn't say this is a fundamentally bad book. I would say this book wasn't working for me personally, you know? And my most recent DNF is Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. This book is awful. Like, it's so fucking bad. It's urban fantasy set in New York. I don't know. There's twins, but they're not actually twins, and they have magical powers, but, like, nothing's really explained as to what's going on. Something about the stars, celestials. One of them's a YouTuber. I can't even explain why this book is so fucking awful. But there's, like, very limited world building. The characters are all annoying. I'm scared to read the 2 Adam Silvera books that I own. I don't know where they are, these ones. They both died at the end, and History Is All That You Left Me, because I hated this book immensely. And I did not like What If It's Us. I hated Becky Albertalli's parts more, but I hated his parts also. So I don't think I like his writing. I'm gonna give him one more try with one of those 2 other books I own, because maybe he's better at contemporary writing without Becky Albertalli than he is at... I mean, I don't want a book with Becky Albertalli in it, or better than this. So, yeah. Also, I did DNF The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. I hate Becky Albertalli's writing. It's not for me. It's not good. It's not interesting. I think I made it... Ooh, do I say... Yeah, I don't... I think I made it an hour or 2 into the audiobook. I went, wow, everybody's annoying, and I don't give a fuck what's happening. Becky Albertalli's writing is bad, and it's not for me. and her books are boring. It's just the truth. Becky Albertalli's books are boring. They're not good. And the characters aren't good, and nothing's good about them. The writing isn't good. Okay, now that I've made everybody sufficiently, like, mad at me for not liking Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli, who, I don't know, seem to be, like, the gods of YA queer contemporaries for some reason, even though they're debatably good at it. I'm not really sure why they are put on such pedestals. Yeah, those are all of the books that I have DNF'd this year. I feel bad about DNFing none of them. You're welcome to tell me what you loved about these books down below. I'm not gonna, like, change my mind, but I want to know what other people liked about these books, because, like, these have to be books other people enjoyed. Like, I'm pretty sure there were, like, 5-star reviews on them. So if you're one of those people who like these books, like, let me know why. I'm interested to know, like, what worked for you that didn't work for me. Like, that's cool. And yeah, I'll see you whenever I do my next video.